Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here today to bring you the noontime inspiration from the original teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. And I'm reading from Swami Kriyananda's autobiography, The New Path. And this particular excerpt is for today. Nevertheless, the idea of world brotherhood colonies remained important to him. It was, as he had put it during that speech in Beverly Hills, in the ether, in the spirit of God. Kamala Silva, in her autobiography, The Flawless Mirror, reports that as late as 5 months before he left his body, he spoke to her glowingly of this dream of his. Master knew that eventually the dream must be fulfilled. This is very interesting because clearly, as I described in prior episodes of this noon broadcast, he tried to start a community. It didn't work at that time. One might say, well, he tried, it didn't work, it must not be meant to be, but that was not the case. He kept talking about it over and over and over until even towards the very end of his life, as she reports here, his disciple Kamala, he talked about it again glowingly, because he knew it was going to happen. I remember once hearing when Swami Kriyananda was in India, he had gone to India in 2003 to start a new work in India for Ananda, and he was 77 years old at the time that he was doing this. And he left his body when he was 86. So in these last years of his life, he worked very, very hard, tirelessly, to have the work there established and standing on its feet. And one of the things that happened at a certain point when they had a setback at the time, and it looked like he was perhaps going to be leaving his body, which thankfully he did not at that particular point, but he was very sick. And he pulled the leaders together there and he said, "This is not our work. It's not yours, it's not mine, it's Babaji's. And it's going to happen, if not by us, by someone, because it's destined to happen." And that's what Yogananda was saying to Kamala when he was speaking glowingly about communities, notwithstanding the fact that one had just failed that he himself had tried to found. He was saying, it's meant to happen. It's going to happen. And so he kept talking about it. And this is so important to remember, that everything that's going to be manifest in the spiritual world, in the spiritual realms of whether Yogananda's life and teachings or another great master, cannot possibly be covered by that master in one single lifetime. But if they sprouted the seeds, if they touched on an aspect of a teaching, if they talked about it, if they spoke of its importance, it will happen. Instruments will come along and it will be made manifest. That's the divine law. Joy to you, and we'll see you again next time. Blessings.